Hey, it's May. It's fantastic. Monday is May the 4th be with you, but I won't be sending this out until after Monday. But for me, in my world, it's Saturday, and all my neighbors are mowing their lawns, and it's a beautiful day out, and I'm stuck doing this because of a incident that happened on Friday. But yeah, Crimea River. Anyway, I hope things are going well. And Yeah. I'm Again, the remote learning and stuff is on my homepage. If you're confused over stuff, if you get confused, don't be afraid to send me an email too about what's going on with the classwork and stuff. Again, I can't see what you guys can see when it comes down to the Google Classroom. And I started looking at the surveys. There's only a few that came in, and um, it seemed to be going okay. And one of the things that it was a comment that was repeated was that the videos going longer than like 20 minutes were tough. And yeah, I lose track of time. And I think what I'm going to do is put my timer on my phone. This is a short video. This is a short assignment. Um, it's an assignment based off of a thing I do with partners. So if you want to partner work on this, you could. I don't know how you're gonna do that, but you figure it out. All right, let's do it. This is part one of this is part one. This is the laser thing. Part one of the legislative branch, and we've talked a lot about the legislative branch, and this is Article One. So I've got part one and part two of the legislative branch, and then we're going to do the bill to the law together, which is kind of fun and kind of neat. And then we'll go on to Article 2, which is the executive branch, which, yeah. Anyway, so good. There's the Capitol building. It's a beautiful building. And again, you can see the old Capitol domes there, the little ones, um, and the newer buildings there. Yeah. All right. All right, remember the main power of the legislative branch is to pass the laws of the nation. Again, if you look at that bulletin board in the front of my room, if you remember, it had the three branches. And the main power of the legislative branch is to pass the laws. And the main power of the executive branch is to carry out the laws, right? Execute the laws. And then the main power of the judicial branch is to interpret the laws. That's their main power. But there's more than just that power. A couple things I want to say, and just before we start getting into bill to a law, there's Bill, and remember I have Bill. He's still at school, all by himself, poor thing. Anyway, it's introduced as a bill before it becomes a law. They call it a bill as it goes through all the process. It's a weird name. It's a weird name for us because it comes from the 1700s. A bill in the 1700s meant copy. So I would if I was running off copies, I would say I'd be running off bills, handbills, right? So that's where it comes from. So basically, we call it a copy, and then when it gets signed by the president, it becomes a law, right? So that's where the bill comes from. It's not like a name like William, short for William. All right, so it has to pass both chambers, both bodies, the House and the Senate. All right. Again, it was designed as a filter. So if it passed the House and then it goes into the Senate, and the Senate is supposed to be the more, illustrious group, and they would get rid of like stupid ideas. It has to pass both before it goes on to the president. But it doesn't necessarily have to go House to Senate. It can go Senate to House, as long as it's not dealing with money. And most bills deal with money. So that was part of the Great Compromise, if you remember, because wherever a bill starts, it gets the most scrutiny. And so they figured that like a state like California, which is the fifth largest economy in the world, if it was its own country, it would be the fifth largest economy in the world. 10% of all the people who live in the United States live in California. They have 52 representatives. I might be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that. It's off the top of my head. But the idea was they only had two senators, just like Wyoming, who has the population of like Providence, Rhode Island. They have 2 senators too. So that pleased the smaller states. But to please the bigger states, they wanted anything that dealt with spending money or raising money to have to start in the House of Representatives because the bigger states have a bigger representation there. Wyoming has 1 representative. California has 52. So California will have a bigger voice in the House. And wherever a bill starts, it tends to really, if it's going to die, it probably dies where it starts. If it makes it through the first chamber, the odds are it will make it through the second chamber. Not always. That's what the next lesson is going to go into. The part 2 of power of the legislature is going to go into how bills die and stuff. It's kind of sad, but they do. Most of them do. Anyway, so that was part of the Great Compromise. But if it doesn't involve raising money or spending money, it can go from the Senate to the House. And a lot of times you have this ping pong effect going on. So you may get confused in the news. Sometimes like it passes the House, it goes to the Senate changes a whole bunch of things, has to go back to the House. So you see that stuff. Again, we'll get into that later. So anyway, this is a lesson that I like to do in partners in class, and I do it every year. And it has you using your book, going into the Constitution, and getting your hands into these powers, because a lot of people don't really understand that there are a lot of powers that the legislative branch has. Remember, the founding fathers thought the legislative branch was the real democracy. It was the core. You needed an executive to kind of be the captain of the ship. You needed a judicial to interpret stuff and make sure things are fair. But the real government was going to be the legislative branch. So they have a ton of powers, and it's outlined in Article 1, Section 8. That sounds confusing, but there's just different sections. Inside the section, they break it up into clauses. Not Santa Clauses, but clauses. And in Article 1, Section 8, there are 18 clauses. And those are the powers of Congress. I think this is going to cover that, right? Yeah. So here's the National Archives. Article 1, Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, Section 5, here's 8. Now, see 8, and you've got all these clauses, and it's all the powers that Congress has. And you're going to get your hands into these. That's my goal. Is not that you memorize these, that you know them inside out and backwards, and how they've been interpreted through the years. But I want you to get your hands into them. I want you to see it and not have me just say it. So that's part of this assignment, is that you're gonna be looking at a Constitution. And I scanned the book, so you can use the book if you wanted to. And I also have a website that has the Constitution that you can go to and look at. So you're using that. Oops, what am I doing? That's not where I want to be. And the last one is called the Elastic Clause, which is part of the next lesson. So let's look at, this is the assignment. And I usually don't do this with you, but this was the first time I've ever done this. I wanted to do matching. I had to watch a stupid video, a wonderful video. It's all positive. And this isn't how you see it. Let me go to how you see it. Let me click on this. It goes to how you see it. All right. So it's going to ask you a few questions, and then it gets to this. This is the beef of this lesson. This is what I want you to get, and it shouldn't take you that long. But you're going to use these websites if you want. If you have the book at home, you could use your book. It's on page 227. That's the Constitution. The clause part is 227. Yeah. And I scanned it. So if you click on that, excuse me, you can tell I scanned it. I'm at home, but it's there. So you can go there, and it's put in a different way than the way I put it in the matching. So I broke it up into clauses 1 through 6, and you're just going to match up clause 1. What is it? What's the power? And you're going to click it. Right. So whatever it is, if it's the power to borrow money, then you'll click there. Clause 2, click the power. Right. And then you go on to the next. I broke it up into clauses 7 through 12. Again, you can go here and look. It's not going to say it exactly the same way, but it's pretty close. And again, my idea behind this is to get you to kind of see how all the powers that the Constitution gives the legislative branch. It's a lot more than most people think, right? So that's really it for today. That's it. It's a short little quiz thing. It's you kind of using the Constitution a little bit, and that's all. So shouldn't take too long. We haven't done this in a while, so I figured we should end the class with yeah. This is when you guys usually bolt for the door. I'd say have a fun education afternoon. Don't forget to write this in your agenda. Anyway, yeah, it's all fun. All right, I hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy May. Make sure you get out there. It's been beautiful. And have a fun educational afternoon.